Okay, now they hear me and they hear you. Oh, thank you very much.
Dominicato, Mr. Roboto.
Oh, thank you very much. Let's see, I can do this too. I can do this. All right, are we having call-ins tonight?
Yes, we are going to have call-ins tonight, so we have an active phone number, which would be, oh crap, what did I do with that piece of paper?
Well, tell me what it is. I'll put the header up.
Okay.
One.
It's in the chat room.
One.
It's in the chat room.
BR549.
BR549, extension 3. That's my good one.
Yep.
And, of course, there's always my landline, 301-213-9349.
I don't see it in the chat. There we go.
Now it's in the chat room.
He tells me it's in the chat room. It's not in the chat room.
I had to type it in.
You know what I have to put up?
I had to type it in.
213 dash. All right, so we got some news for everybody.
Oh, yeah, we got some news.
Dude's pregnant. No, that's not the news. That's not the news. No, okay, I'm sorry.
Well, actually, Rich, do you want to break tradition and let him know who's the dad?
No, because I don't think Big Dirt's here right now.
No, Dirt's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was kind of like a wrestling match, and I lost.
What's the phone number? The phone number is 1-303-213-9349. Well, there's enough threes in that bad boy, is there?
No, there's too many threes in there, dude. 301. Crawdad's in the house.
All right. Does everything look good in the room? Everybody see everything okay? Everybody hear us okay? Somebody give me a
the crawl's good, but you got a 303 and not a 301.
Is it a 303 or 301?
No, actually, Dirt said daddy.
It's a 301. Oh,
Dirt contaminated me. I got contaminated with dirt.
I can figure it. 301? 301 213 9349. I can fix it.
Oh, the telephonic device is working.
Yeah, see, I fixed it.
Yes, there is camos, copious. Oh, no, there is no camos.
Hey, we don't want to see you do that. Stop that. This is a family
I think I actually bleached them. No, I'm just not wearing the camos today.
Oh, well, at least he's wearing pants. You got me beat tonight.
Oh, am I? Oh, man.
That just ruined your night. You're thinking about that now, aren't you?
Yeah, Grandpa and his britches.
That's right. There you go. You know, I used to be a dancer. Yeah, now they don't put dollars in. They just reach in and grab for that roll of dimes.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Your banana hammock's become a full-on mailbag.
Yeah. Oh, that's with an extra long strap. Yeah.
Tell me about my military days all dressed up. Oh, man. Well, at least we had good uniforms back then. Rich joined up roughly the same time as I did.
Yeah.
And we had the woodland camo, which you ask anybody in any branch of the service, the only guys that still have is Air Force. Strangely enough, Air Force is the only guys that still have woodland camo. But you ask anybody in any branch, they liked the woodland camos. They were just the best.
I have desert camo, not the digital, the real desert camo.
You got the chocolate chips.
That's the last I have.
Oh man, those things were good too. They wore like iron.
Yeah. No, I didn't go. You know, a good friend of ours by the name of Tom, and he's got a YouTube channel too. He was actually part of the deal who came out with against the Velcro, and he showed a general why they should not use Velcro, because he told a general, he said, you walk out there somewhere, they blindfolded Tom, and they said, you walk out there and just move around, undo a cuff, unbutton, take a leak, do whatever you want to do. And he walked out and he very quietly tried to undo his cuff link on his jacket in Velcro. Tom spun around and pointed his finger at him and said, you're dead.
Actually, there's an easy way to get Velcro to open quietly, is just before you open the Velcro, you go, ah!
Yeah, there you go.
And they're so distracted by the scream, they go, oh, I didn't hear the Velcro.
Well, mine all has buttons. There's no Velcro on mine.
Well, the other problem with Velcro, too, is also the simple case of you're working in a really grit, nasty, dusty, dirty desert environment, and the major problem is, of course, you load your Velcro up with all that dust and crud, and it stops grabbing a hold and holding on after a while, and it's useless.
Well, it's the same thing when you're crawling on your belly through the dirt. Your Velcro becomes useless, or you're doing whatever else and it becomes useless. And
that's the other thing, too. like you were saying, like the guys or the war fighters really like the old British stuff with the simple twist snap things.
Yep.
Or somebody was telling me about that, but there's like, like the stuff with buttons and the old twist snap stuff is like what they really prefer to play with.
Because it doesn't make noise. It doesn't jam up. It doesn't get clogged. It always works, and it works quietly.
Yeah, it's like a Mexican silencer. It's like sitting on a pillow and cracking wind.
Yeah, there you go. I find that if I do that to my daughter's head, though, it's much more fun. Daddy wants to play the fart game. Knock him down, sit on him, fart on him. I did that with my sister, too, but, yeah, it's bad stuff. All right, man,
the women in your life, the women in your life suffer so hard.
Yeah, I know. You guys,
all right,
you guys do the show. I'll step back. You have fun.
All right. If you guys want to call in, the phone is working. If you guys want to hit me up in the chat room is working. Big Dirt has hit the house, and Dirt, you're the daddy. I just want to let you know. You are. Oh, he's left. He heard. Now I got the swirly thing. What's going on, man? Got the swirly thing in the room. Oh, okay, it's back now. It's back. All right, folks. So back. Dirt's back in the room. Hopefully. Well, anyway, it's time to begin the game. So Beetlejuice. It's showtime. All right, today's subject is going to be basically, something very simple, something very easy, and of course, I go on about telephonic devices, but the problem is, unfortunately, as they get better and better, they get bigger and bigger. Is there any real reason why this thing, even with the case, is like 3/4 the size of this one? And it roughly does about 80% of everything that this one does. The only thing this one really does better is it uploads stuff better. It has, of course, a little bit better technology on board, and it's got a little better, OS supposedly, because it's now running on the Google stuff, and it's Android and all the rest of that happy horse stuff. The basic thing, though, is it really is still a good phone. Well, case in point, you see how big this guy is. Let's just grab out the ruler here, and we'll have a little fun. Basic size on this wanker is Basic size is essentially it is 4 inches by about 2 inches by about an inch roughly deep. Okay. Now this guy in size reference is not all that small. Let me just do something stupid here so you guys can get a reference for like size. Gallery. I'm just going to pull up just a generic picture just so you guys could get like an idea of the actual screen size on this thing. And hang on a second here. I'm just going to pull up just a picture. That's really not a good one. Hang on a second. Let me try something better here. I want to try to give you guys reference of like just actual basic screen size. Let's just do like I'll use the picture of Mrs. Dude's hat. That's simple, stupid, and easy. And you can see basically the screen size is roughly almost about the size of the phone I had previously. Now, the kicker is, yeah, they say it's a full screen, and yeah, it's touch screen and all the rest of that happy horse stuff. The only downside is, because it's touch screen, there's a lot of instances that really don't make this thing work good. Mike is asking the OS. This one is actually Android, and I want to say it's ice cream bar. So it's not an ice cream sandwich. One of the older ones, okay? This one actually is an LG, so it ran basically its own kind of standalone deal. And, of course, this one is a slider. And, of course, this one is an actual flip. Now, the major difference, of course, is how much size difference have you gotten in terms of actual ability for the thing to work better? I really don't see that much difference. The major difference I see really is because this one had buttons, this one was a lot easier to function in inclement conditions. This one, it's like you kind of have to touch, feel, poke, prod, and all the rest of that happy horse stuff. Yes, we did actually get ones with keyboards for a reason. And if you don't have a keyboard and you have like, the clone phone nowadays, everybody's running around with iPhones. I mean, that's like, that's pretty much like what everybody's doing nowadays is everybody is just running around with an iPhone, and that is their absolute favored thing. Hang on a second. I got to turn off my Wi-Fi. It's just going to start screeching through speakers and stuff, and I really don't want that. For some reason, these things really are very happy about grabbing Wi-Fi. It's just it's one of those things I actually have a manufacturing tweak about these, just the way they work. The other thing, too, is This one was old school. I mean, it basically had a majority of the functions on it was all buttons. There was no touch screen. It had a cursor button on it. It basically has got buttons on its inside. And once you knew the locations of the buttons, that's pretty much how it worked. Mike, you're saying it's too many buttons. Trust me, man. After you drive this phone for about a month, you know this thing backwards and forwards. You can even work this thing in the dark with all the buttons, you know, almost the keypad turned off for the backlighting. It actually was just that easy. I really like this phone a lot. This was an NV2. Now, the kicker was this one was, of course, replaced. And you can still actually use this one on the Verizon network. It's just only now you have to use this strictly as a minute buy phone. You can't simply just say, okay, I want to get a plan and use this phone anymore. They just don't do that anymore. So the newest, bestest, you know, whateverest, which has now been replaced. You know, nowadays you basically have the clone phones and all the rest of these new phones that are all touchscreen only. If you want to use a keyboard, you have to get a Bluetooth keyboard. Conservatively, yeah, you could go online, you could buy one of these keyboards, and they're not prohibitively expensive, but yet you still have to source one, and you still have to actually enable your system to recognize it, and you have to play with it. And no, Show 13, this is not Jelly Bean. This one is like one of the precursors, like one of the older OSs. It's a little loggy sometimes, but it actually works okay. There's sometimes where I try to jump from program to program, and it does kind of backlog a little bit. It's not too terrible, but there's some instances where this thing really just, it's only like, all right. It's not like stand out, best phone I've ever had, but it does actually use some pretty good stuff. The camera on board is actually decent. I mean, that's one of the things I really like about it. The front camera's a joke. It's like 1.2 megapixels, so you can basically, like, you know, stare at the phone and carry on a conversation in Skype or something, and you can actually use the real one on the back, and that's actually a 5 megapixel, so it's actually pretty good. You guys notice I've actually got the new back on it now. I actually had to go back and forth with the guy on eBay, but he actually did send out the correct one. So now I actually have the correct back that actually can carry the fat battery. And these are really kind of cool. I love these cases for one very good reason, is it has a kickstand. So you can stand your phone up and use it in the open form by laying it down, pulling the back up, and you still have a kickstand on board. I just really like these backs. I mean, now that I've gotten used to them, and I started carrying them with this style of back, I just really particularly appreciate it. Also, it's a textured surface, and it's really kind of ruggedized. I mean, I've actually bounced this thing off of, literally, I bounced this thing from like waist height onto the pavement, and my heart was in my throat. I'm going, oh no, I just killed my phone. And it literally just bounced off the ground, skipped off the corner with this ruggedized guy, and it saved it. I mean, I put a little scuff on it. As a matter of fact, when I changed out the back, I have not changed out the front part. The front part is the part that I had originally, and it looks exactly the same. It's got a little bit more wear on it, but you know what? It's going to match up soon enough. But now that I got this 4,000 mAh battery in here, this thing runs for 2 days, no problem. This thing cranks. Show 13, 5 megapixel is pretty sufficient. It actually does okay video. It actually has a digital zoom. It's a little bit of a joke. It does work, though. Now, the other thing, too, is this is not the most edge of the envelope, you know, bestest, newest, this, that, you know, this thing is actually so obsolete now, I can actually find batteries on eBay for $10 with shipping, so I'm not crying. Excuse me, how to wet my whistle. Now, the other thing, too, is, of course, this is something that's built into all these phones that most people really don't realize. If you have any cell phone, as long as it works, even if you have to jack it into your cigarette lighter or your adapter, or the battery's completely flat, and that's the only way it works is by jacking it into your cigarette lighter, you can turn that phone on, and you can make an emergency phone call. Now, will it locate and triangulate to your location? Possibly. But the thing is, if you buy any cell phone, as long as it functions, any kind of flip top, unopening, candy bar, slider, whatever one you find in a pawn shop, if you find it for cheap and you throw it in your car and you have it in your glove box, even if it has like the most ridiculous battery life, as long as you can plug it into something, turn it on, and get the thing to go on system, you can call for help. That is something that most people really don't even think about. They go, oh crap, I don't have a phone. As long as you do have a phone, you're good. And I guess I'm freezing up again, aren't I? We're freezing up, Rich. I think we're freezing up. Okay, I think we're back on, but I lost a picture. But okay, like I said, going round and round. As long as you have a functioning phone, you can make an emergency call. Any cell phone, as long as you can get on a network, will always dial out for an emergency. That's just first part of the first segment I want to get with you guys, but I want to let you guys know about that technology. Any phone call you need to make from 911, I'm sorry, to 911, as long as you got a phone, period, it will make that emergency phone call. So at least have some beater phone on board your car. That's all you need. All right, let me get this one off to the side here, and we're going to go onward from there. But let's see, we're about 20 minutes in. I wish I could play the song, folks. I really, truly wish I could play the song. But unfortunately, I can't. So we'll just have to remember the song by Bow Wow Wow called I Want Candy. But unfortunately, I can't play the song called I Want Candy by Bow Wow Wow. So we'll just have to think about the song. And I'm going to be pulling out some stuff. What are today's selections? Squirms and gummy eyeballs. That's right. We're going to be doing a candy tasting because I went to the dollar store before Mrs. Dude got home from work. And, of course, got some Chinese food. But this is going to be a tasting for today. We'll be tasting some gummy squirms and Monster University gummy eyeballs. I'm going to go with the squirms first. I've always been kind of squirmish. Let's see what we got here. And they are particularly, I don't know if I would say they're particularly, yummy looking, but they are, well, they contain a lot of sugar, so kids will be happy. And I did that stupid thing again where I flipped the box over. Darn it. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to look, okay? Gummy eyeballs, Monster University. Of course, it's the tie-in with the Pixar movie coming out. Well, let's give these suckers a roll and see what we get. Okay, it's kid-proof. It's not kid-proof for long. That's right, Mr. Bag. I got something for you. All right, first impressions. They really are not particularly good performing squirms, I'm thinking. They just sit there. They're not squirmy at all. Oh. Ugh. Are they nuclear? No. Are they sour? Are they really particularly good? No. No. They're not very good squirms. I gotta say, those are not the best squirms I've ever had. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to say these were just not the best squirms. I'm gonna have to move on from there, but No, as a matter of fact, I don't even say the previous ones I had were better than this, which were the, oh, what the hell were those things? The watermelon ones, the sour watermelon things. No, those aren't the best. I gotta say, those are not good squirms. All right, let me move on. We're there. I'll be trying these gummy eyeballs in your dollar store. So cruise your dollar store for stuff. Oh, these are bizarre. Okay, these are really bizarre looking. Yep, these are really bizarre looking eyeballs. What the hell? I'm gonna have fun with them. These are gummy eyeballs. Ooh, that's a good looking one. I like that puke green guy. Oh man, they're. Yeah, if you walked around with a couple of these things, you definitely gross out your parents. You know what? I think I'll try a purple one first. I'll throw caution to the wind, and I'll eat the purple one. Smells like grape. Really does. Smells grapey to me. All right, so let me give this sucker a roll and see what we get from there. Ow. Oh. No, that eyeball is just no. No. Kind of reminds me of the time when I was a little kid and I tried chewing on one of them rubber or jellyfish lures that kind of has roughly about that same kind of flavor. A little grapey more. No. Show 13, these are not sour and bitter. These are just, they're gross. These are not very... I can see why these things are in the dollar store, because, you know what? Once they hit the store, the kids bought one box and said, you know what, these things suck. They look good. I mean, they really do look good. But they just, I don't know about the black party, and that's kind of wrong. Uh-oh. Rip this pupil out. That's actually a positively not bad pupil. Yeah, just kidding. Oh, no. No, these things taste like fishing lures. No, they are foul. No. I gotta wash away the taste of some of that nastiness. No. No, the Monster Guy's going straight in the can. I'm not eating that. That's nasty. No. Crap. And I'm stuck on camera, so I can't spit it out. I must cleanse my palate. Bad times. Oh, that was foul. They were nasty. I gotta cleanse my palate now, okay? I need to bring in something good. And I know these are good because I remember chowing these things down as a little kid and up to, and in currents. And they're not bad. I actually prefer these. These are rather tasty. They are the Wonka bottle caps, and I'm going to have to scarf down a couple of these things just so I can deal with the things at hand. Oh, man, that was not good. Crawdads, you're saying China column made. You know what? I conceivably could see those things being made in China because they just flat out sucked. All right, now let's see. These guys are usually like soda flavors because they look like bottle caps. So let's get these guys in order here. So we have our grape, we have our orange, we have our cola, we have our cherry. So let's try grape. Oh. The grape is good. All right, let's try the orange. Orange isn't bad. Let's try the red one. Oh. That's pretty decent too. Let me cleanse my palate. Okay, gummy is just not yummy. Let me try the cola. Yeah, the bottle caps aren't bad, man. I can scarf these things down all night, man. I love these things. They really do taste like soda. Okay, so they're not bad. I'm gonna have them as my palate cleansing influence, and you know what? I'd probably could eat the squirms, but them eyeballs are just nasty, flat out disgusting and just nasty. Jane Fonda, Jane, I have your picture in my urinal at work, and it's just good times to go and drink too much. I'm not all going to say on that one. Well, anyway, crawdads, I actually do read the labels and I see where the stuff is made, and in dollar store, it's infamously. It's standard practice for those things to be made all over the planet, but the squirms are I will not eat the eyes off the camera, Rich. Those things are foul. I just threw them right in the can. I am not going to eat those. Oh, yeah, Crawdad. The root beer ones are very, very good. All right, so basically the next point of order is we're basically done with the goofing around with the various stuff. Unfortunately, though, you know how things work in my line of being is, unfortunately, I do go to Walmart. I went to Walmart. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to unplug my earphones and play the sound file that I gathered from Walmart. But I don't even know why I go to this Walmart. But let me just play the sound file. You guys can share in my misery. People of Walmart, episode 6, I think it is at this point.
Hello, people of Walmart. We got a new thing for y'all today. This herein is a direct answer to all them city-fied folk who got them star buckers and car-rigged coffee makers and stores to drink that high-dollar brown stuff they think is coffee. Well, sir, today we got for you the new Turbo Hydromatic 400 coffee maker, straight from the streets of what was formerly communist Russia, reworked to be compatible with our standard 110 current. Now, I don't have a clue on what kind of juice they run in Russia, but you can plug this sucker in and not fry your town flat. It's tested and everything. My sister didn't even blow a fuse, which was about the only thing in town she didn't blow. My cousin Nestor's doing a demonstration on aisle 14. Y'all might know Nestor from his few years in broadcast TV, when he had his starring role on America's Most Wanted. Well, he's paid his debts to society for moonshine, and he's reformed his ways. He's brewing what in aisle 14? Nestor, don't think I can't see what you're doing there. I got closed circuit TVs. You're still on probation, and that unit sure ain't made to run on Sour Mash. You are to cease and desist, or I'm gonna tell your ma on you. Oh, dagnabbit. There goes my profit sharing for this quarter for the repairs. Again. You gotta know smoking covered in hairspray ain't safe, Debbie. I just can't figure out why you use 3 cans and your hair's still all mussed up. Huh? Oh, fire damage. Got it. Okay, folks, this concludes this announcement. For the usual mishaps and world-class apologies, I gotta perform the corporate. So long, and please don't encourage Nestor when they put him out again. That boy would try to make water contain alcohol.
Yeah, you kind of see the kind of stuff I have to encounter when I go to my Walmart. And I do say, unfortunately, it's my Walmart, but I swear there's some West Virginians that get imported and just run the place. It's never anything but it is what it is. And if you guys miss it on the show, I always repost the people of Walmart later on my own channel. So, 80s Podcast channel, it'll show on there. Of course, Dude Jerky, always cross-link my stuff, all that good stuff like that there. Now, the next segment we'll be going on to, of course, with my silliness with the people of Walmart, but you got to have some serious projects and other things in mind. All right, time to talk about that 3-letter word that most people in the service, actually a 4-letter word if you include the S, but that 4-letter word in the service that you know as the MRE. That's right. The MRE is a self-contained method of self-destruct. No, it's actually your food unit that you're issued, and it started out with these guys. First, you had the brown guys, then they became the tan guys. This one's one of particular favorites of mine. This one is a beef slices with barbecue. This one's good, man. This one's good. I really like this one. Also, the other thing, too, is the sheer size of them. I mean, the brown ones are... Okay, let's just do a quick measurement here. The brown ones are like... let me get my inches. I need my inches in jumping. It is literally almost 3 inches high. The brown one, on the other hand, is only about... barely 2 inches high. I don't know why they think that all our war fighters need to have another, that much more. I mean, this thing is not bad to hump. This thing is a tank. Menu option of this one is beef ravioli. Now, sheer size-wise, they're really close. The bags are very close in terms of construction. If you feel them, the polyethylene is very close. But if you look at them, they actually have a composite. These, thanks, Rich. Appreciate that one. Chad Admin said they used to be green when they were a kid. Chad Admin, actually, what you were seeing is you were seeing the LRP rations, the long-range reconnaissance patrols. They were the first guys to get them. So what happened is they became more variety, more version, more. Just more. So they basically became standard issue because the C rations were cans. Cans are heavy, cans are limited, cans are old technology, so they needed something better. So they came out with a retort pouch, which was basically just a couple layers of plastic, some aluminum, some more layers of plastic, and they welded around the edges to make a satchel. Satchel contains all your food. Flat satchels fit into a square package pretty easy versus trying to fit cans. And the cans, if you want to see what they basically look like, the cans that are an exact same size as what is in a C ration is roughly what you see as your beef spread and your dreaded little beanie, not beanie weenies, but your, those horrid little pork sausage things that contain everything but the squeak. Ugh. Rich, I will get to that in just a second. Stand by for just a moment. He brings up a very good point. Now, the other thing, too, is about MREs is there's a lot of fluff. There's boxes, there's heaters, there's spoons. I mean, if you carry one spoon, you need 5 spoons and 5 MREs? Probably not. Now, the other thing, too, is, of course, in your MREs, you have the ability to do what Rich just mentioned in the chat room, which is stripping. So basically, you go from one MRE with a lot of airspace, and I'm going to show you an example of it. This is 3 MREs in roughly the same size pouch. What I did was I cut the weld on the top, and I put it in there, and I literally packing taped all get out around the top edge here, but it is still easy to open. Now, if you know anything about these things and you look at them hard enough, you know that there is a kink or a slit on there, and that's actually what you rip open. You do not take the bag and just jam a knife into it and start working it around because you're just going to kill all the contents. Now, the other thing, too, is the bags don't wear out. If you know where to get a hold of a strong enough or a potentially good enough, you can get a seam welder and you can weld these things back up again. Now, considering I do have a vacuum sealer, if I had the patience and I wanted to spend the time and just go and weld the same line like 3 or 4 times, I probably could do it. Now, the thing is, the plastic on these things is ridiculously thick. It's like you've seen like contractor trash bags where it's like 8 mil or 12 mil or 10 mil or something like that thick. They're not saying 12 millimeters. They're saying like 8, 10, or 12 millionths of an inch thick. Or thousandths of an inch thick. Sorry, thousandths of an inch thick. And these things are very, very thick. It is a bag that can take a hell of a beating. And the stress testing that they put MREs through is damn nigh of just destructive. I mean, they will drop these things numerous times. And there's a reason why there is some air in there. That's because they do drop testing. And they will drop them out of a distance, and they'll drop them from a height, and they'll bounce them around, and they'll put them in a machine that basically beats them up around like a big casing cleaner, you know, kind of like one of those rotatory guys that basically has like the shells in it, and you shake it all around and polishes them up. They roughly do that to this. I mean, they pretty much put it in roughly, for all intents and purposes, like a clothes dryer, and they'll put it on their spin cycle for however long it takes for the test to be certified, and the things are tested in that manner. Then they open them up, and they see what happens to the contents. The biggest problem is, of course, it's only a bag. And if you've only used it once, your bag that you use, you just pitched, there's nothing wrong with the bag. You still can take that section, and if you cut just below the weld, the bag is only just a little bit smaller. So what you can do is you can weld that seam back up, and as long as the bag doesn't have any other punctures in it, except for the cut you just made across the top, it's still good. Now, like I said, stripping it out, you basically can put stuff in there. What would you want to strip out and not keep? Well, you can take the accessory pack. You can cut it down. You can take everything out of the boxes. So you basically just have the retort pouch itself and not the retort pouch in a box, which is about 60% more area and, of course, space. And, you know, that's all stuff. Rich says, of course, the crackers. Yeah, you definitely want to keep your carbs. You want to keep your carbs. You definitely want to keep your protein. The dessert and stuff, that's pogey bait. I would definitely get rid of that. The candy, the gum, quick energy is stuff you probably want to keep. If you're running and gunning, you're thinking more like you're burning through tons of protein. Your carbs are going to be kind of needed, but that really is just to get you going. Clock says do something else to them. I'm not going to bring that into the translation of what it was, but Clock 152. Let's just say that there was a few pranks involving something along those lines that was very unpopular with the upper echelon when they found out they were doing it to each other. Yeah, not good. Oh man. Hey, Fog, good to see you, brother. Good to see you stopping in here. I know definitely you got the time difference there, and I really appreciate you stopping in. I know it's really late where you are. But the biggest thing with MREs you have to remember is there is many different tiers of them to be had. Of course, you have your brown ones. And your newest brown MRE is, oh, God, when did they stop making those? Like early 90s, mid-90s, something like that. They are very, very archaic at this point. The newest one you will find is not that new, okay? The brown ones basically got adopted, and they got switched up to the tan ones. Chattabin says, we now have tornado warnings for eastern Colorado. Anybody that's in eastern Colorado, you definitely want to check and make sure that you're going to be safe. Make sure that you got your things secured on your property, and do not heap the dog outside in the hurricane or a tornado. Never good times. Now, the other thing, too, of course, with your MREs, like I said, there's different levels. Of course, you have your basic MREs. Of course, they used to have like C rations, K rations, and it was like different caloric values. They were diabetic. They were kosher ones. Now, the other thing, too, is there is still something along those lines. They do actually maintain a variety of kosher or halal style of MREs. And that would be the ones that they charitably give away to other countries. They're not stuff that's issued. Now, in terms of the actual MREs, there's stuff called First Strike. And if you look at it, it's a big fat bag, and it's 3 days, or supposedly 3 days worth of food that they issue to guys in between the time that they get geared up and they get ready to roll out. But they need something to feed these guys where they're sitting idle. So they give them something called a First Strike ration. Now, when you find these things on eBay, they are hard to find, but they are way expensive. And all they are is just 3 MREs, really. Don't pay the extra money. Just get 3 MREs. Now, there's also the varieties of MREs, and of that, you will have the vegetarian varieties. Why you would ever want to have vegan food in combat, I don't have a flipping clue, but it's just something that they do nowadays. There is absolutely the international ones. I can tell you for a fact, the Russian ones suck. At least that's what I hear. I hear the Russian MREs suck. The Romanian ones I have no clue about. Some of the other countries I have no clue about. I hear of all countries, the Canadian and the French MREs are among some of the best on the planet. The French used to issue wine. Well, that's great, but until you go to an Arab country and the Arabs are going, hey, how come these French guys are drinking wine? It's like, well, it's in their MREs. It's like, you're not supposed to be drinking alcohol here. So anyway, that's one of those things that probably got shot down by the wayside. But the Canadian ones are really good. The French ones are really, really good. Miker says the Russian ones suck. Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard, dude. I've heard the Russian ones are flat out horrible. I can tell you from my own experience, the 24-hour British ration is very good. Foggy, if you were nice enough to send some over to some people over here, we would truly appreciate it. Trying to find the 24-hour Russian ones are very, very, very hard to find in this country. And I actually sent some videos about them because one of my British friends actually sent me one, and I got to do a test taste. It is a sick amount of food that's in those things. When they say 24 hours, they mean it. It's a lot of food. Now, conservatively, you could go with your MREs. But the major thing you got to worry about with MREs is they're really not intended for long-time use. The problem is they're really high in sodium, they're really high in fat, and they're really not the best diet except for when you're the worst of times and you're trying to survive in the worst of times. That's why you're eating MREs. But I can guarantee you one thing, if you're eating MREs, you're not going to be making a lot of head calls because they're going to kind of back you up a bit. Especially if you're eating the cat crap crackers. Those things will tie you up quicker than anything. Oh, Foggy, you're saying they got new ones? Oh, man, that'd be cool. Clock says they all suck. Rip a corner off the main meal. Okay, now there's a trick, too. Here's something most people don't do with MREs, and they really don't. Oh, that's the other one Rich mentions now, the 4 pieces of toilet paper. Yeah, that's the can't wipe. It's just enough to blow your nose. It's not enough to do anything else with. It's a joke. But when you get, I'm going to use the big one here to make it easy. When you get a retort pouch from an MRE, most people would go, oh, okay, I'll just cut the top off and eat like that. The problem is you're now trying to eat from the top all the way to the bottom, and you're getting your dirty fingers all over your spoon as you're dipping into your chow. That's not good. The trick is you take the bag, you turn it 90 degrees, and you cut an L. When you cut that L, you've now made basically a bowl. So the trick is you look to the side of the bag, you snip it, and you basically just go, and you make basically like this part of it go away, so you now have a bowl in which to eat with. That is the trick with the MRE. The other trick, too, is how to heat up your MRE. There's a couple tricks you can do. First and foremost, you can use the heater. Do they work? Yeah, they do work. I mean, the heaters are actually a very effective piece of equipment. Add a little water to it. It basically gets its heat by chemical decay of the products that's in the bag. Would get it really, really hot? Kinda. It gets it warm. I really never use those things. My MOS was motor T. One of my tricks was I'd simply just walk up to a truck and I'd find something that's warm and I would put it on top of the engine block. I'd make sure the truck wasn't going anywhere. My meal was going to leave. But I would put it on top of the engine block and I would throw my whoopee on top of that. Now the kicker is, because if you're motor transport, you're always surrounded by something that's running. Always. There's always something that's running in motor transport. You can ask Rich about that. There's always a truck running. There's always an APU on. There's always something that's generating. There's always something that's running. If you know where to look, you can put your food on something that's going to warm up by sheer convection. Now, because you're motor T, you have all kinds of good access to tools. You take one of these retort pouches, you take a torch, and you go woof, you flip it, you go woof, you flip it, you go woof, you flip it, you go woof. Your meal is hot, and it took only about 10 seconds with just a propane torch. If you do it with a acetylene torch, you're probably going to fry your bag. What you really want to do in that case is you want to simply have a little bit of offset distance between you and your bag as you're flaming that sucker. Now, I can tell you for a fact, MREs, while they really don't improve that much in flavor when they're hot, it's a hell of a lot better to eat a warm MRE than a cold MRE in cold conditions. I would really rather have something warm. Now, the other thing, too, about MREs that most people really don't think about is the meals, the menu options themselves. There really is not a lot of breakfast options that's really available anymore. They kind of really have run that out. In the old brown ones, you could find like all kinds of like omelet dishes. There was egg dishes, and there was good stuff that basically you could round your budget out and round your your menu out, because you weren't basically just stuck eating like, you know, beanie weenies and ham, or like some kind of fettuccine all nasty, or, you know, whatever the heck they got this week. The menu options have changed so much. I mean, like a good website I would tell you to go to is like MRE Resources. Those guys have all kinds of information, all kinds of great stuff. You can definitely go there and find out all kinds of great stuff about like what the sheer length, breadth, and depth of an MRE actually is. Now, civilian versions, and I've done this before, but I'll just do it again just to round things out so you guys know, I'm staying consistent here. The Mountain House retort pouches, you basically have the guys, you add some water to it. Of course, it's got a Ziploc seal. You cut the top off. You add in the two-serving one, you add approximately 16 ounces of boiling water. You seal it up. You let it sit for 10 minutes. The trick with these guys is you have to wrap them in a blanket or put them in your sleeping bag, or they're going to get cold. Now, the conventional one looks like this. Nothing crazy there. There is another one that they call a Pro Pack. The Pro Pack has actually been vacuumed out, and it is the same deal. Add 16 ounces of water, let it sit for 10 minutes. It's, conservatively a lot smaller. This one is a single serving. This one's a 2 serving. But they are basically, this one a 2 serving too. Oh, they call this one a big serving entree of 1 versus this one being a 20 ounce serving that serves 2. You know what? I eat one of these things by myself. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm going to eat one of these things by myself because it's got enough calories to make me happy. Yeah, I mean, half the package is 270 calories. Half the package of this is, oh, no, they're nice enough for this one. They say 1 package serving is 520. They make you do the math on this one. I'm not sharing. I'm going to eat this whole thing by myself. But this is like stuff that you can get. And you can find these things anywhere. Gander Mountain, Bass Pro, camping stores, surplus stores, online, they're everywhere. I would not get the number 10 cans because the number 10 cans are very hard to portion out. Now, the kicker is, of course, these guys, they say that they have a storage life of X amount of time, and they say this one's going to be dead by August 2013. I got bad news for you guys. You basically sealed it in a Mylar container. You put it with oxygen purged. You purged the thing with nitrogen. You put an oxygen absorber in there. It's good. They're fine. These things will be good for 20 years. I don't care what they say. The only reason why you lose these things is because some mouse found it and started chewing into the sides. Now, Rich, you want to jump in here for a couple minutes? I got a kind of an announcement, but it is one of those things. It's just the way things work.
The way things work?
Things work. We were having programming conflicts. What was it, the Russians? I think the Russians were conflicting with us or something. It's like their satellite was crossing over our satellite or something. Yeah. But you basically said that we're going to have a conflagration of like radioactive isotope-like creature or something. Okay, basically what it comes down to being is I am not going to be doing an 8 o'clock show any longer. And the reason being is I just won't be doing an 8 o'clock show. I'll be doing a 9 o'clock show. Hey, big switch.
And it will be called
Dude After Dark.
Dude After Dark. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dude After Dark.
So 1 hour later, 100% more dude.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I might actually like, clone myself or something.
Twice as much dude in the same size package.
Now, let me ask you, when you were operational in the field, did you guys ever get any LURPs, or you were strictly just deal with MREs?
Did I get any what?
Did you get any LURPs, like the dehydrated stuff, or you were strict?
Yeah. I got everything. All the way up to when I left, they were feeding me, so.
Oh, you had the hot carts.
I had more than that. I was an 05 when I left.
Okay, you got all the good stuff.
They served us, okay?
All right, one of my favorite stories, of course, you know him, you love him, Chesty Puller. He's in the field one day, right? Some guy comes cruising up to him, pulls up to him in a Jeep. So he's like standing there doing his various general type stuff, and this guy comes running to him and goes, General, General, General. He's like, yeah, what do you need? He's like, sir, here. And he's like, what's this? He goes, it's something for you, sir. And he goes, well, what's this something for me? And he goes, here, sir, it's a canteen of hot coffee. Or you know, like a thermos of hot coffee, whatever it was.
Yep.
And he goes, that's nice. And he goes, yes, sir, enjoy. He goes, no, you don't understand my contempt for you now. He's like, what do you mean? He goes, well, if you can bring me hot coffee, why can't you bring my Marines hot food?
There you go.
That is just another example of why Marines love Chesty.
That's why I was a field. Yeah, I can't sit behind a desk and play that game. So, yeah.
Now, did you actually ever encounter any sea rations when you were early in your career?
No.
I think I saw them a few times, and it was like, this is the stuff you eat first.
I have actually, well, I have actually dined on World War II food that had a hockey puck in the bottom of it.
Oh, I've heard about those. It's like the cans have been so stored so badly that everything just like congealed, coagulated, and just died.
And then what you do is there's a key that goes in the bottom of the can. You undo the key, the old key. It takes a tin around the side off, and out comes what was supposed to be a brownie, but it's more like a hockey puck.
How's it taste?
Well, how do you think it tastes?
Kind of like a hockey puck.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
All right, Clock One with you too, saying that LURPs blow. I got bad news for you, Clock. All a LURP is exactly this.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It is a Mountain House retort pouch that needed to be rehydrated. That's all it is. That's where the technology came from. And I've had the two side by side. They are absolutely the same stuff. The spaghetti is exactly the same from a LURP. You got to remember, I was in a long time ago, and I was prepping a long time ago when this stuff was a lot easier to find. I've actually got a LURP pouch, and I ain't touching that thing for nothing. It's sitting in my storage for posterity's sake.
If you order offline what they call military MREs, you are not getting a genuine military MRE.
Nope. The only way to get a military MRE is if you hit the pawn shop at the edge of the military base.
Right. If the guy brings one out and sells it, you'll get a military MRE. You cannot order one offline anywhere in the world unless the guy's selling it off the base.
Okay, here's the classic definition. Hopefully this shows on this camera. U.S. government property commercial resale is unlawful. That's what you're looking for, is the tan bag that says that. Not so Paco, so sucko for you suckers that basically bought it as a civilian.
Yeah, you're not going to buy, you know, 50 MREs or a case of MREs or anything like that. You know, unless they're stolen off the base. But yeah, you're not going to find a place on the web that's selling boxes and boxes. You can order MREs directly from the military. They won't sell them to you.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is like they put all this pomp and circumstance about, oh, government property, you can't have this. And it's like, then you do a little research, and it's like, once it's been to the field and it's come back, they can't do anything with it. It's been fielded.
Yeah.
It's got to go. It's got to go. Just like ammo cans. You only use ammo cans once.
For some reason, they want you to put ordnance in a hole in the ground and blow it up. And I don't understand why. So I say if you hang on to some of it and put it in your pockets and don't say anything.
Oh, Crawdad cracking me up here. From a reservist said they fall off the back of a Bradley. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that falls off the back of equipment in the field. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah.
I was just looking around the other day, and somebody found they were obviously in some really bad operational area, but they found an M16A1 lower receiver. Now, here's the kicker. In their country of residence, they can own M16 parts, but they can't hold any part that actually contains the actual explosion of the cartridge. So they can't have the barrel, they can't have the bolt head, but they can have all the parts surrounding it, up into including the lower receiver that makes it go bark. Crazy stuff. In this country, you have the lower receiver, you're a felon. Even if it doesn't go bark, even if it's just sitting around, you're a felon. Sometimes gun laws really make no sense because they're just really bad legislation that these guys throw in by the wayside.
Well, We have Dude After Dark coming up, which will be next week. We have some new stuff scheduled. Some new hosts will be coming in, and we may pick up a Sunday night show. I'm not really sure what's going to go on there yet. There's some other stuff happening. If you all would like to see some other things, please give us some feedback in the comments section. Go up there and leave messages for us, and let us know what you guys are interested in. Your feedback's what runs it, so if you go up to contact us and leave a message, that's what we need. We are just shy of 8 weeks on the air, and we are over 8,000 views.
That is too cool, man.
So we're more than 1,000 views a week. You can think about it, 8 weeks. You know, the first week or so was kind of rough, and we included that in there, and you know, it got going, and we got, you know, we're not big yet.
So I guess we're doing better than like what, MSNBC or one of those guys. I heard Rachel Maddow, her ratings are like through the floor.
Well, do you know that when we put something in for the breaking news, emergency news feed, that we actually get it before CNN?
Well, there's also the filter of them basically having to go through the news stat before it finally hits the guy in the teleprompter to go, "Hi, I just recently heard that blah, blah, blah blew up." And they were like 15 minutes after the fact that we knew about it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, because we get ours.
Breaking news.
We're ripping ours right out of the field. Directly after the guy uploads it to the little mechanism in the van and shoots it out over the airwaves, we've got it.
Okay,
we don't have to wait for anybody to go feeding through it and going, "Ah, you really can't say that on television."
I got a cute one for you. I got a cute one for you. Did you guys hear about the explosion on the east side of town here where we had basically a train car that basically got run into, or actually a tractor trailer got run into by an actual railroad engine, and we had the train became dislodged off the rails. Of course, it, you know, popped off a good chunk of its payload and all the rest of that fun stuff. But the kicker is the two cars basically tagged each other. One was toxic, the other one was toxic, and they started smoldering, and of course the fire built up. That sucker went kaboom. I was in my house. It went kaboom about 3 miles from my house, and I thought an aircraft had crashed over at Martin's Airport, which is like not even about a few miles from me. And you can see the videos on LiveLeak, okay? It's basically just the train explosion in Rossville, I think it is how they're actually writing it up or something, but the explosion happened, and I'm like, okay, real-time news. I'm like punching this up on Google, nothing. Half an hour later, my wife calls me, and she's like, "Hey, did you hear about the explosion?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard the explosion." So yeah, all these train cars basically popped off the rails and they smoldered, and it's like the video was like people like walking up to this thing going, "Yep, it looks like it's gonna go," and you hear this thing just sizzling, popping, and the explosion from these guys standing like, you know, not even all that far away from the thing was like compounded like 10 times what I heard, and when it hit me, it was like a thunderous kabam, and it sounded like, you know, it sounded like ordnance. It really did. It's like half my house just rang. But that was funny. I was like, I'm waiting for the news report. I'm like, you know, punching around on Google going, no. So where's the news, guys? No. And then she calls me. It's hilarious.
Now, see, if I'd have known where to look for that or what to look for, we could have punched it in and been waiting to see what would happen.
Well, I was wondering because the direction, I actually saw the smoke coming up over the houses in the distance in my neighborhood. I actually saw the orientation. I mean, I know the orientation of my house, which way I got to look for things that are being over here, over there, and what have you. I know that there's 2 airports within 3 miles of my house, and I know the direct orientation from my house because I know my house is basically north one side, south on the other side, east and west, and you know I got all those coordinates laid out. I know basically which way my house fits.
And where's the wind blow?
I'm sorry?
Where's the wind blow?
Depends on which part of the day it is and which way the actual storm system's coming from.
And then you got to worry about which way that radioactive stuff's coming from the cloud from the train.
Well, I didn't have to worry about that. I mean, that was basically just, I saw the smoke cloud was going up and it was rolling due south. So it was missing me completely. But the explosion was such, it was just kabam. I was like, what in the world was that? And I went outside and I saw this this pall of black smoke just comes rolling over the trees, and I was like, oh crap, an AC one something or other crashed, or somebody crashed their warthog, or some piece of ordnance lit off on the tarmac because somebody wasn't being careful. And I was like, it's not that hot out. I wonder what the heck happened over there. I was like, okay, aircraft touched in. I wasn't thinking rail lines, because you got to remember, Baltimore has so much rail traffic going through. I mean, we're still the 13th busiest port in the United States. We have a lot of stuff going in and out. Mrs. Dude's cousin actually works the ports, and she's forever telling me about, like, she just shipped out like 10 aircraft. She just got in like 3 boats in full of, like, military vehicles coming back. This boat's going out with this, that, and the other thing. And she sees stuff left, right, and center coming through. Now, the kicker is, of course, when these things go off, I basically know the orientation. I'm like, dude, that's the airport. What the hell happened here?
Does she get Carwell on, if she messes with the vehicles now? Does she get Carwell on her?
She actually does Ro-Ros.
Oh, okay.
She does the Ro-Ros. I think she works for Wallenius.
All the vehicles are sprayed down with something called Carwell. Basically, it's transmission fluid sprayed all over the vehicle before it goes over. If it goes over, it comes right back. It's still got Carwell on it. Keeps it from rusting on a boat ride over.
I know that they sterilize the vehicles on the way back from the sandbox.
Yep. Got to.
But anyway.
Get rid of the fleas and the ticks.
Man, I was talking with a buddy of mine who went over for Desert Storm 1, and he said half the time you're sitting down to eat something, it's like shoot a fly, take a bite out of your food. It's like crunch. Ah, crap. Oh, well, I had a shot for that. Yeah. It's like you're trying to eat the food, you're getting fly protein.
There you go.
Middle East.
Man. Well, it was a good show, like always.
Well, I definitely appreciate you guys showing up.
How many phones do you have?
How many phones do I currently have? I currently have just the 2. This one is basically, it's a worker. I'm just not using it. And, of course, I have my standard, using it now, sell. And the only thing I did was I transferred the number from this to this. Okay. So it's roughly, I mean, as a matter of fact, I could actually probably just pull the card out of this. And, they both use the micro SD, so there's no problem there. But the prices for memory right now is ridiculous. I just saw a 3T drive for $150. I saw a 1T drive for $79.
You remember how phones were really big back in the 80s when they first came out? They were them big honking things, and they had their own little briefcase you carried them in.
Oh, hell, just watch Lethal Weapon. You see Danny Glover walking around. He looks like he's got a briefcase, and he's got a handset talking into it. It's like, what? Oh, that's a phone. Okay.
He's got that great big giant thing like that. And now we went down to these little tiny phones.
And they're getting big again.
Now they're getting big again. And like the new...
The tablets. The micro tablets. And you get something that's like, it's like 6 inches long by 3 inches wide. It's like, how do you put this thing in your back pocket and not crack it when you're sitting down?
You don't. You got to wear it on your side, and it's unbelievably big. And then you get a protective case for it, which makes it even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, pretty soon it's like you have iPad, iPad mini, then mini tablet, then micro tablet, then cell phone. And it's like, before you know it, it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to basically just walk around with a briefcase that's going to be your telephone? I mean, one of the funniest damn things I saw was I actually attended my my nephew's graduation. There was a person there who was taking her iPad and using that as a camera, and she's like, ka-chick, ka-chick, ka-chick. It's like, lady, you're holding a notebook up and taking pictures. It was the silliest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. She's like using her iPad as a camera. But yeah, it works, but I mean, it's like, it just looked ridiculous.
Well...
Crawdad, I remember seeing a picture of a 1 megabyte drive that was the size of like a washing machine. And that was like early, mid-70s, something like that. I forget what it was. But the price on the thing was like, gazillions of dollars. But they were bragging this is a 1 megabyte drive. And the thing you look at, it looked like a stack of phonographs. It's ridiculous.
Well, hold your iPad up and talk into it. You'll be all right.
Yeah, but that was like one of my coworkers joked about that. He like picked up his iPad. He's like, hello. It's like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I'm joking like I'm making a Skype phone call with my iPad. It's like, well, that's ridiculous, dude.
You know what? I was in the hospital with my daughter while she was down there doing therapy, and I had my laptop with me. And I was on Skype, and couldn't hear at one point in time, and I picked the whole laptop up and held it up next to my head and talked.
You probably look like one of them guys with a ghetto blaster.
I did. I think I was talking to Micah at the time too.
That's hilarious.
From down there. Yeah.
Well, Micah and Dirt now, I mean, they've actually formed like the zombie squad. I was talking with them the other day, and they're like, oh, yeah, we Skype chat, we go and play zombie killing games. It's like, you guys got too much time on your hands.
Yep. Zombie killing games, man. Yep. So, yeah, as long as they're having fun, that's great. More power to them, man.
Yeah. All right, folks, so on this one, I think we're going to be breaking off. But do remember, next week will not be at 8 o'clock. We'll be at 9 o'clock because that Russian thing, man, it's tweaking me, man. It really is. It could be some other former Baltic state, but let's just say the translation of transmissions, it's not good.
Yeah, Dude After Dark.
Dude After Dark.
We're watching Dude After Dark here in Romania.
Crawdad's asking what's a ghetto blaster. A ghetto blaster was those big monster stereo systems that people used to walk around with things on their shoulders. Remember those big boom boxes? That's a ghetto blaster. Those big ass radios they used to walk around with back in like, the 70s and 80s that ran on like about 12 D cells and weighed like 30 pounds. Yeah, they considered that a portable radio. Sick.
Yeah. I want him one again.
Oh, and just cruise eBay. They're everywhere.
All right, man. Take it easy. We're going to call this a night. I'll play as
all right, folks. I think it's time to break off. Eat good. Keep it a 10 ring. As always, you know it. You love it. Thanks so much for showing up. And, of course, I thank you guys so very, very much for blowing my channel up yet again because I'm not really happy about making it partner. But, it's kind of that bending to the wheel of progress. It is what it is. All right, folks. See you guys and good times.